Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're all having a great day today. I'm having a decent day. Just some issues with my internet lagging, but bear with me on this. I was actually notified of this by Ringside News just now. The link will be in the comment section down below. Interesting story pertaining to Bret the Hitman Hart and AEW turning him down to be a road agent or be an agent, whichever one. I'll give you some insight as to what this is about, but this is a pretty interesting story. And it basically details, as previously reported, Orange Cassidy is now working as a backstage for producer agent for AEW. Writer Brian R. Sullivan, who contributes to Inside the Ropes magazine, took to Twitter and revealed that Bret Hart pitched to AEW to work as an agent. However, AEW would turn him down for some reason. I'm actually a big fan of Orange Cassidy and his work, but in a company that has Arn Anderson, Jake Roberts, Taz, Billy Gunn, Christian Cage, Chris Jericho, Dustin Rhodes, and Sting in the locker room, shouldn't they be the ones being tapped to be agents? And he says, when I recently interviewed Bret Hart for my book, he told me that he offered to be an agent for them, but they only wanted to bring him in as a manager, like Tully, Arn, Jake, etc. Imagine having the ability to have Bret Hart coach younger talent and saying no just to be a TV character. Bret Hart made it clear he wasn't coming to AEW anytime soon, and now makes it more sense of why he had said that. Regardless, many fans feel this was a bad call on AEW's part. Now, keep in mind, I get the whole logic of this thing being kind of like a 50-50 story. On one hand, it was something that might have been a good idea, but on the other hand, it may not be a good idea from a business standpoint. I think AEW has a lot of talents in it to where they can rely on other people to where maybe they just don't need Bret Hart. That's probably what it is. And then there are these people that have been coming out for years. Oh, Bret Hart's a bitter old man. Oh, he's still bitter about Goldberg kicking him in the head. He's still crying about the Montreal screw job and just all this stuff that I think that it's been taken so out of context because truth be told, there's a lot of people on YouTube that are uploading Bret Hart shoots or shoots against Bret Hart, pretending that they're recent interviews when they're not, and they're from several years ago, and they're trying to just really continue to really push the narrative that Bret Hart is bitter when he's already made peace with almost everybody that he's had problems with, except maybe a few people. But you go back to 2010, Bret Hart came back to WWE to make peace with Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon. Around that time, everybody thought that it was never going to be possible, but it did, and it happened. And I think that one thing that's a factor in all this, as I mentioned, is that Bret Hart shoot interviews are being uploaded continuously by all these podcasters that are obviously trying to keep conflicts going between fans that are saying, oh, Bret's bitter, when they're not getting it, that these are just old interviews that they're uploading, and that's what's making this whole thing continue year after year. I don't think that Bret Hart really is bitter. I think it's because wrestling fans are just so salty over stuff that he had said before regarding the kick to the head, regarding the screw job, shoots he's done on Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, all that. You're always going to have a salty wrestling fan base that is going to never, ever support criticism, and they're going to get so triggered and offended over everything that somebody says, whether it's Bret Hart, Ronda Rousey, or anybody for that matter. That, I believe, is one of the factors to why AEW did not take Bret Hart in. And that's actually something I think is the correct narrative if you look at it. I have never seen anybody with that much controversy surrounding anything in wrestling the way that Bret Hart has had, with wrestling fans just coming out and bashing the guy constantly. But also these fans are not familiar with the fact that these podcasters are in fact continuing to instigate rifts that he had with people by uploading old shoot interviews, and that's why this stuff never ends. But why from a standpoint of you wrestling fans claiming that Bret Hart is bitter? Have you people forgotten that Bret Hart is able to voice his opinion on stuff? It's not just you guys. He can say whatever he wants to. If anything, he's been pretty correct on a lot of things. I believe that Bret Hart was 100% correct about Hulk Hogan being a selfish person. I believe that he has every right to still be a little bit mad at Bill Goldberg for the kick to the head, even though I still think that whole thing was mainly on the fault of WCW management that pushed Goldberg faster than anybody because they wanted to get him in the ring based off his size and strength. And they saw something in him, but they didn't let him grow in the ring from an experience standpoint. And that's what came back that caused that whole thing. I don't think it was Bill Goldberg's fault. I think it was just bad timing and the fact that WCW did not actually do the right thing by training Goldberg with longer matches. Like when he came in, for example, he had so many squash matches that were over within a matter of a minute, if not less. And that did not let him grow as a performer and get experience to keep his opponents safe. That's what I think was the factor in all that. Or when Bret Hart talks about WWE and the Montreal Screwjob or Shawn Michaels or whatever, he's got points on to be mad, but I don't think he's a bitter old man like other people have claimed. I think, again, it's just a salty wrestling fan base that doesn't like to be objective. And that's really what causes the conflict is that. And also because, again, these podcasters, they're uploading clips all the time of Bret Hart shoots. And that is why these things keep going and going and going. Oh, Bret Hart is bitter. Bret Hart's a selfish old man. Blah, blah, blah. But AEW turning down Bret Hart, I don't think it has anything to do with Bret as a person or the stuff he went through. I think it's just because they don't need him. But I do believe that we might see him eventually one day come to AEW, possibly. I think that we might see something along the lines of that. I think that it really will get to the point where they might do business in the future because you have all these people coming out of retirement to return to wrestling, whether AEW or WWE or anything like that. I think we could see a return of the Hitman. I don't think he's done. But I also think that him being a manager is not really a smart move because of his past injuries and because, from what I understand, he still has issues to this day after getting kicked in the head by Goldberg. I think putting him in the ring from a physical standpoint as a manager would be too risky and it would contribute to more health issues down the road. I don't want to see the man get hurt. I think that being a road agent would be something because it would keep him away from the ring. But you never know. I mean, they might change their mind tomorrow, that being AEW. So we'll have to wait and see. But this has been my video, guys. Tell me, do you think it was a wise decision of AEW turning down Bret Hart? Or do you think it's a good idea? I want to hear from all of you in the comment section. Comment down below, hit the subscribe button. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and I'll talk to you later.